Hi all, Kev here, aka Defender of Hyrule, and 2 days ago I had laser eye surgery. So really, I'm just here to sort of talk about what happened, the procedure, the aftercare, the following few hours, just so that if people are actually planning on having it done, hopefully this will answer a few questions, put them at ease, and it'll just help them make their decision about whether or not to get it done. So the difference is amazing. There is still some blurriness. I was short-sighted to start off with, and they did say that it can take anything up to 6 months for things to properly heal, settle down, and for the full effect to become apparent. But even so, there's such a big difference. There is some blurriness, but compared to what it was before I had it done, it's such a huge difference. I don't regret having it done in the slightest. So I had LASIK with Wavefront done. It was at an Optimax clinic in Southampton. I originally booked it through Ultralase, but Optimax and Ultralase have amalgamated together into a parent company or something like that, I don't know. So it's all part of the same thing now. So I went along at, I think I'd be there by 1:45, something like that. And first thing, you have all the paperwork to sort out. It's just forms, ticking, initialing things. Very straightforward. It just goes through sort of the possible risks that you're going to have, the aftercare, make sure you understand everything, that there are other options, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually, the four of us there doing it, and eventually, before we all went into the, to have it done, they did get us all together and went through the aftercare. Yep, given one of these on the way out. It's got everything in it that you need for the aftercare. I will go through that later on so you know what is actually in it. And then they pretty much just, after they explained all that, called us up one by one. So I went in, and it was really simple and straightforward. There's nothing really to it at all. You go in there, there's this big table, a few machines. There were 3 people in there with me, the doctor himself and 2 nurses, I'm assuming, or whatever they were. So there's plenty of people in there with you, and you sort of just lie on it, and you put your head in this little groove bit, and that is all it is. There's no strapping down, no holding you, nothing like that. And first thing they do is they put drops in your eyes to numb them, really. Then, after a little while, they then, this is the worst part, is the clamping your eye open. They started with my left one, so they covered the right one over, put the clamp in, and it was a little bit weird and uncomfortable, and it did pinch a bit at the start, but then once they'd moved it around, got it into position and sorted it all out, it was fine. It was a bit strange having the eye open all the time like that, but your eye's numb, so you can't actually feel anything at all. Maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but it's certainly bearable. They get this like suction ring which they put onto the eye, and that's a little bit weird. They sort of dab it on. It's clear so you can see straight through it, and they dab it on a few times and they put it on your eye. And I don't know what it actually does, but once they put it all into place and it's done whatever it is it does, you actually can't see out of the eye. So seeing as you've got one eye covered, the other eye you can't see out of anyway, so you can't actually see what's going on. And what they do is that is where they cause the flap. They sort of do the flap to start off with, and then later on they put the laser in to actually, I think they burn the cornea or the retina or something like that. That's how it should be. So this was the part with making the flap. You can't feel this suction thing on you at all. It's just a little bit uncomfortable, really, but there's no pain, nothing like that or anything. So they then they get this machine, they sort of hold it over your head like that, so it's over your eye. They sort of might move you a little bit just to get you into position. And then once you're in, it's just a case of, right, 30 seconds as from now, and then it does whatever it is it does to make the flap. I think it uses a laser or something. You can't feel it, you don't even know it's happening, you're just lying there, and it does it. They then sort of go, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, all done. They then move the machine away, they take everything out, the suction thingy you can then see from the eye again, take out the clamp, then move the cover over, my left eye open that time, and then they did the right eye. Same thing again, clamp, suction thingy, machine, job done, easy. So it was really straightforward, and once they did the countdown again, and it was fine. You can't feel anything, there's no pain, so it was easy, it was so straightforward. That's just a flap though. They then wheel the entire bed round, so that you're then under another machine, and this is when they actually do the laser eye thing for the cornea or whatever it is. They stuck with the right eye still, seeing it was already open. There is like a flashing light which you have to look at. It's like a red or green one that flashes, it changes between the 2 colours. So you just stare at that, they'll move you around a bit, get you into position. They do put a few bright lights into your face occasionally, for whatever reason. But even then, when they actually say, like, this is what the laser will sound like, and you hear a noise, and then they say, right, it's just going to warm up, and then the laser will start. They start the laser, you can hear the noise, I think the right eye that they did first, I think was on like 4 seconds. That was it. You can see you got the light coming into your eye anyway. So once you can see that, that is pretty much all you can see. You couldn't actually see another laser. I don't know if that was the laser, but that is all you can see. It's focused on that light, and because that's there the entire time, so you don't actually see anything else going into your eye. Some people say you can smell burning. I couldn't, so it was fine. 4 seconds, done. Then I unclamped everything, moved the cover again, opened up the left eye, and did this. I think that was 7 seconds, so that might have been the weaker of my eyes. There was like minus 1.75 for one, -2 for the other. So that was probably the -2. 7 seconds on that eye. That one felt cold. I think it was very a bit strange. Still, again, no pain. A little bit uncomfortable with the clamp and all that there, but that was it. And that was the end of it. Job done. I think the entire thing probably took about 5-10 minutes, absolute max. That probably includes the time I was waiting outside for the person that was getting it done beforehand. So it was really simple. I went out there and they led me out. You do feel a little bit disorientated, but generally it's perfectly fine. You can just about see. One of the weird things was where they make the 2 flaps to start off with, they fold the one they made over first. Then when they go back to that eye, they did then outfold it, so they do get some weird thing to like go, and there is no noise like that. It is a little bit weird seeing it happen, but again, no pain, nothing, so it's a little bit strange, but again, that's really, the worst parts of it are probably just the eye clamp and the suction thing. The rest of it's easy. So they just take you out, they put you into a dark room. I was probably in there for 5-10 minutes. I just sat there with my eyes shut. They did sting a bit, but it was okay. Then someone came in, they wanted to do a quick eye test just to make sure everything was all right. So I just sat in the chair, they did the usual read the top line, and I just read it. I couldn't keep my eyes open for very long because it did sting, but the guy said, how are your eyes? I said they sting a bit, so he got some extra drops for me so that I could do the test. Everything was fine, and then they give you the aftercare bag. Right, so in here, you have a number of things that you need to, mainly eye drops that you have to put in. The main ones being these ones and these ones. There's only 2 different types, but they give you 1 bottle for each eye. One's got the red top, and one's got a yellow bit on the top. These get put in on the day you have it done. These get put in every 2 to 3 hours. These are to help stop the infection and all that sort of thing. You'll end up needing to use them for a week or 2 afterwards. As from the day after, you put them in every 4 hours, but only when you're actually awake, or 4 times a day. You don't actually need to get up during the night to put them in. So as long as you do them 4 times a day when you're actually awake, generally, then you'll be fine. You also get given these. These are like they're pretty much fake tears type things. You put those in every 2 hours, just to keep the eye clear, really. So it's just 'cause if your eye's clear, those things will work much better. So they're just sort of like water, just to keep the eye clean. They do go through all this with you on the day. You do get a bit of paper as well with everything written on it, but it's not particularly clear. So it kind of, you can phone them up to if you want more information on it. They'll tell you everything you need to know. But it is a lot of information to take in right at the start. The paper that you get given doesn't explain everything. So if you can remember it, great. If not, phone them up just to make sure. You also get given 2 of these. These are the eye guards. They go on you like that, and then you take them in place for when you're asleep. You do look like something out of a 90s horror film with them on, but it's to stop you from rubbing your eye when you're asleep. You get given this tape as well, so you just sort of, it's a bit like some weird cottony sellotapey type stuff, so you just use that, you put those on, strap it on, and then that's it, you take them off in the morning. They're not that uncomfortable. As long as you don't tighten them up too much, then you don't really notice they're there, so they're perfectly fine, and you just wear those for a week or 2 as well. You also got given a box which had numbing drops in them, but they can only be used for 24 hours after the actual operation. Because my mum and her partner came with me. They were sort of chauffeur, cook, waiter, hotel owner and all that sort of thing for me while I was having it done. So big thanks to them for all their help over the past couple of days. And they did listen in to the woman explaining all of this stuff, but most of it just went over our heads anyway because there was so much of it. So we did get a few things muddled up. I thought that one of these ones were the numbing drops. Turns out it was a completely different one. So I didn't actually end up using any of the numbing drops. But even so, it wasn't that bad. It did sting, it was a little bit painful, but it was bearable. So if I had have used the drops, then it probably would have been absolutely fine. Thing is, because I didn't use the drops and it did hurt, I did keep my eyes closed pretty much the entire time. If they were open, it's for a second or two, and that was it. So that might have helped them heal better, I don't know. But yeah, there is the drop, so it could have been completely painless the entire time. And that's all you get given, really. That's the lot. I can't remember what you have to do for a week or 2 weeks, but there is another booklet with all of it written in it for how long you have to do each one, so you can always have a look at that. And that was it, really. That afternoon, I was in the clinic for about 3 hours, I think it was, start to finish, so it wasn't too bad. The evening, I think I mentioned it, they did sting a bit, particularly when putting the drops in, but that was probably just because I got them things mixed up and didn't use any of the anaesthetic drops, so that was my own fault. So it wasn't that bad, really. It was perfectly fine. The following morning, I had a checkup at, I think it was like 10:30. So they did still sting a little bit, but I carried on using the drops and everything, so it was okay. I could open them for a little bit longer, but it still wasn't a particularly long time. Got to the place for the checkup, and for some reason, right at that moment, I could keep them open for a lot longer. Couple of minutes at a time. It still did eventually get a little bit stingy, but I could keep them open for a lot longer. Went in. It was just a very basic checkup. I was only in there a couple of minutes. So yeah, 2-hour drive to the clinic, 2-minute job. Did the whole read the line, shine the light into your eye, make sure everything's alright, you're out again, no problems. So I just got to keep on using these drops and everything for the next week or two, and that's it. So yeah, he was perfectly fine with everything, it went really well. It's onwards and upwards from now, really. I'll just keep on with everything. You do have to wear sunglasses for 2 weeks after the I think it's a week, 2 weeks, a week, whatever. And whenever you go outside, no matter what the weather is like, whether it's cloudy, sunny, whatever, you have to wear the sunglasses. I've got a cap as well, as it is blazingly hot outside, so it's just for the extra protection, really. Inside is perfectly fine. I did wear them inside as well yesterday and part of this morning, seeing as it has been so warm outside, but now I've gone for it and it's completely fine. So there are some things you can't do, like going to the gym, certain exercises, swimming. Swimming you can't do for 4 weeks. Regular exercise, I think's a week. Other things, particularly if you're like proper bench pressing and all that sort of thing, that's 2 weeks. So I suppose depending on how severe the actual exercise you do is, depends on how long you have to leave it. Alcohol consumption, I think it said keep to a minimum. A couple of drinks, you'll probably be alright. Food you can eat as normal. Even before, I had a sandwich on the way up to having the operation, so it's perfectly fine to eat and all that, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, everything went really well, and if you are thinking of having it done, then definitely look into it. I mean, you might have decided it's not for you and all that sort of thing, but I looked into it and it was so simple and straightforward. I mean, I was a good candidate for it, so hopefully everything will be perfectly fine for it and the results will be really, really good. I recommend it. Definitely have a look into it. Really good. The operation was so simple, straightforward and easy that there's no problems with it, and a lot of people say they wish they'd had it done earlier. Though I'm glad I got it done now, I wouldn't say I would have got it done earlier, seeing as it does seem to... technology progresses over time, and had I have had it done 5 years ago when I originally thought of having it done, certain things like the Wavefront I think is a new thing they've not been doing for very long, and that helps a lot with the recovery and the process itself. So had I have had it done earlier, that wouldn't have been available like it is now, so I had the benefit of that. So if people do, particularly if you're like a teenager, if you do leave it another 5 years or something, then by then there might be better things that they can do then that they don't have now. So, but even still, look into it. It's really simple, straightforward. I don't regret it in the slightest, and onwards and upwards. I've got another checkup in a couple of weeks' time. I can do an update video for that if people want it to, just so that they know what things are like after the 2 weeks. But other than that, it's so good. See you next time.